Hi, I'm DJ, and I like Kamen Rider on Limbus Company, and since I did this, might as well make one similar to it. I'll be talking about the rings in Project Moon. And if you don't know anything about Project Moon, it's the company that created Lobotomy Corporation, Library of Ruina, and Limbus Company. All these games take place within the same setting. The city, that's the name of it. We actually don't know the name. In the city, it's divided up into 25 or 26 districts. Each district is run by a ring. A ring is a powerful organization, and it should be noted that each district is pretty much its own nation as well. But all rings must bow down to the top 3 dogs of the city, that being A, B, and C Corp. We'll talk about these later. By the way, I'll be using the words ring and corporation interchangeably, because they both refer to the same thing. In addition to running a district, each one of the rings have a powerful piece of technology known as a singularity. We don't know every singularity for each ring, and we actually don't know everything about each ring as well, but I'm here to do my best. In this video, it's here to explain what the ring does, what it provides, and what life is like in it if we know. I will not be talking about the corporation's involvement in the story of Limbus Company or any other game unless I consider it critical information. Finally, of course, I'll be explaining what each ring's singularity or singularities, if they have multiple, are. Before I begin, every ring also has a nest and a back street. The nest is where all the rich people live, and it's honestly much safer, while the back streets is where everyone else lives. It is possible for someone within the back streets to move to the nest, but it's extremely difficult. And the best way to start off is by alphabetical order, since, well, they're all named after letters of the alphabet. So we'll begin with A, B, and C Corp, the centers of the city. Extra DJ side note before we begin, some of the cities don't really have logos, so I'm just gonna be drawing them in MS Paint. A Corp is known as the head. They're responsible for authorizing the rings, managing patents, the payments, the fines, but more importantly, they print the money. They also have control over the sweepers. Who are the sweepers, you may ask? Well, every night from 3:14 AM to 4:34 AM, 3 waves of sweepers go through the back streets to clean. They're the people who keep the city clean, but they destroy anything left outside. People, gone. Animals, say bye-bye. Objects, destroyed. They absorb organic matter and convert it into the red fluid into their bodies. This also destroys anything they can't absorb as well. They can also destroy vehicles unless it's recognized as one by the city, and they follow the commands of the head, regardless the time of day. The head also has another group of people they command known as the arbiters, who have a few singularities of their own. For example, they have one that can lock and open things on a conceptual level. What does this mean? Take Gilgamesh for example. Fairy, touch, no more Gate of Babylon, no more Elkum this thing. Using the singularity, an arbiter could technically lock a person out of any ability they have, because once again, it works on a conceptual level. A single one being a major threat to any ring. Normally, the head doesn't interfere what's happening in other districts. They act as more of a judicial system, with the arbiters being the enforcement system. And what do the arbiters enforce? The taboos of the city, rules that must not be broken. Some of the taboos we know are resurrecting the mind and the body of a deceased person, creating AI, not paying your taxes, gun control, and the biggest one, anything non-human is not allowed in the city. But what does that mean? To be specific, non-sapient. So things like animals are fine, the whales of the Great Lakes, even things like distortions, abnormalities, or blood fiends, since they have human origin. Ultimately though, it's really up to the head to decide things. It should be noted that every corporation has their own taboos as well. Think of it like local government versus, well, just the government. Not all local laws apply everywhere. B Corp are the eyes of the city. They have the role of watching people over in the other districts and any other threats to the heads as well. Its agents are known as the Beholders. They are not involved in combat, but they report directly to the head, and when they're sent out, they're usually with arbiters and claws. And honestly, that's all I could say for B Corp. They're just the watchmen, and for some of these, you'll notice that they're gonna be fairly short. The 3 games we are heavily narrative focused. The world building is great, but it's more along the lines of explaining the here and now in the overall story than what's happening in the next district over. So expect some of these sections to be really short. C Corp is the Claw. They have the roles of being the ones who punish anyone who breaks the taboo. They're the main forces who deal with people who break the smaller taboos. Their agents are known as the Claws. Claws. Like arbiters, they use different singularities as well. The key difference is that the Claws seem to use singularities in terms of serums. For example, K Corp Singularity lets them heal, W Corp lets them rip space, and they have more, but we're not really aware of them. The claw are also given prosthetic heads and claws, which enhances them. It should be noted in terms of power, an arbiter seems to be stronger than a claw, since when sent out, there's typically more claws than an arbiter, the arbiter acting as a superior. These three corporations run the entire city. Whatever they say goes. Okay, a best example of one of these sections being really short is right here. Very little is known about D Corp. What we do know of D Corp, it's where Dante and his sinners met in the prologue. It has a large forest within it, and that's about it. For any section like this, I'll put a little star right here, so you know ahead of time. All we know about E Corp is that they participated in the smoke war on the side of old G Corp, old L Corp, and the current F Corp. Okay, and the smoke war is going to be brought up a few times in this video, so let me explain what it is. It was a big war between multiple corporations within the city. It's basically their version of our World War I. It ended 10 years ago before Limbus Company, and it also predates the Lobotomy Corporation. So, am I going to explain the entire smoke war? Well, yeah, because it's pretty important, but I'm gonna make it really simple. This is Carmen. She was a researcher trying to find an alternative source of energy, and then she game-ended herself, leaving her partner A to take her place and continue her research. Skipping a lot of things because I have not finished Lobotomy Corporation and I still need to beat it. According to my Project Moon expert friend Mac, the head attacked the research facility that they were in because the head thought if A succeeded in his research, the power balance between the head and the city would shift. Mac also sent me this image as well, so I'm putting it in the video. After the head attacked, all that was left was Benjamin and A. They wanted to continue the research and thought the best way to do it was replace the old L Corp. So, to start the gears of war, Benjamin contacted Diaz, who told her it was her best interest. And Diaz pulled many strings in that war. K Corp and I Corp also participated in this war by hiring fixers. Other corporations like the old G Corp had their own soldiers. The end of the smoke war led to the fall of the old L Corp, allowing Lobotomy Corporation to take its place as the energy production wing. F Corp, it's one of the wings that was involved in the smoke war. Surprisingly, despite being unhappy with the old L Corp, F Corp fought alongside it. Singularity? Fairies. It can unlock anything, whether it's physical or conceptual, and after use, the fairies must recharge. The fairies are pocket-sized and are physical. It is unknown how these fairies can unlock conceptual things though. Well, technically there's two G Corps, the old one and the current one, so I'll talk about them both. As mentioned previously, the old G Corp fought alongside F Corp and the old L Corp. It provided its own soldiers using its singularity. Singularity? Name? Unknown. We don't actually know the name of old G Corp's singularity, but we do know it has to do with genetic augmentation. Their soldiers have insect-like arms or features. Although it wasn't perfect. Yes, it did make their soldiers stronger, but it caused the insect parts to slowly take over the person's body. This procedure was given to almost every employee in the old G Corp, many unknowingly signing into it. G Corp's augmentation was mainly led by Herman, the director of the ring, who even did the procedure on her own son Gregor, who was a teenager at the time. Luckily, he didn't suffer from any side effects though. The old G Corp had three decisive weapons during the smoke war. There was the Lord of the Flies, the Maggot Prince, and the Moth Princess. Not much is known about them though, other than the Lord of the Flies could spawn the Maggot Prince right before it dies and the Maggot Prince turns into the Lord of the Flies. During the smoke war, each of these weapons were defeated and the old G Corp fell. And the current G Corp. We don't know much about the current G Corp other than its singularity. Singularity? Sphere. It's able to manipulate the weight of objects via gravity. I guess for those that don't know, weight is directly affected by gravity. The entirety of H Corp is within an enormous building known as the Hanyan, and it's inspired by China. It also technically has two singularities as well. One of them is more along the lines of that affects the entirety of H Corp, and that's because of the old H Corp. I don't know how the old H Corp fell, so I'm skipping over that detail. The entire building itself somehow knows how much your net worth is, and the entire building will configure itself like a Rubik's Cube, moving around rooms and structures to reflect the person's wealth. The more wealthy you are, the more room you get. It's known as Reconstruction Day. Those who don't have any place to stay or without enough room are often tossed out, being thrown around by the building, and you can safely assume most don't survive. Singularity, boluses. Each Corp makes these things known as boluses that contain the essence of treatment. It can transform the human body. The boluses can be taken in pill or powder form, mixed into food, or even applied as an ointment. The creation of the boluses is like an alchemical process. The boluses are also used to create the Heisho packs. TLDO, army of soldiers based on the Chinese zodiac. When ingested, the person will gain the traits and abilities similar to creatures from the outskirts. Each Corp also offers a life insurance policy where you could resurrect a person after death. But DJ, you may ask, isn't that a taboo? Well, yes, but apparently if the brain is left intact, the person can be revived, so it's a technicality. But it could also lead to a person's personality, memory, and even memory loss if used one too many times. There's also this thing called an anomaloma worm. This thing, which is a worm-like creature a person can turn into or metamorphosize into. Well, the worm retains all the memories of the original self, and someone who assimilates with the worm will gain the memories of the original person. And once it happens, it's nearly impossible to remove. And because of this, they're mainly used in high-ranking families to pass down their secrets. When it comes to the ruling body of H Corp, it is ruled by 4 great families: the Jia family, the Shi family, the Su family, and the Wang family. And if I butchered those names, I apologize. Once again, can't even speak in his own language. I Corp took part in the Smoke War, specifically against L Corp. It's mainly known for its back streets, known as the Streets of Music, where the infamous distortion known as the Pianists attacked this district, and it wiped out 300,000 people, which is 80% of the district's population. Fun fact, math-wise, that means that there was 375,000 people living in that district. And that's all it is for this section, unfortunately. And there is some speculation we could do, seeing how I Corp could be related to some type of music or have some type of music singularity, but ultimately, I don't know. Do you like gambling? Welcome to J Corp. You can enter a shop and you can gamble there. There's casinos with different tiers ranging from silver to diamond. Cheating is quite common, but J Corp has a way to make sure things are fair, which is observers, people who monitor gambling and the games to make sure the results are 100% chance. And J Corp has 2 singularities. Singularity, name unknown. The first one allows the locking of information or an object, and this can go up to a conceptual level. Don't ask me how that works, I still have no clue. F Corp's fairies seem to be the only thing that can undo the effects of this singularity. Singularity, wish power, which is a tattoo that when placed on a person will grant them luck. Give it to me now and let me pull. K Corp, it's known for its medical technology and its terrible work-life balance. They have a 70-hour work week. They are also one of the rings who fought against the old L Corp, and they supported Lobotomy Corporation as an upcoming ring. Honestly, there's a whole video I can make on Lobotomy Corporation, but honestly, just watch this one if you haven't already. K Corp and I Corp also promised to grant migration permits to their nest after the Smoke War to those who fought on their side, but they decided to go back on that, mainly because of the amount of money needed. On top of that, they banned anyone who participated in the ring wars from moving into the nest. Singularity? Hypostasis, however you pronounce this. A fluid that allows for regeneration when used. That's what they told the public at the very least. But in reality, they obtained this green liquid from the giant eyeball known as the tearful thing. It's its tears, and they collect the tears to make the products. They also make sure that it constantly cries by showing it videos from all across the city. The best example I can bring up of how well the healing technology is that a person was cut in half and it was used to save her life. And if you're wondering what's the main difference between K Corp's healing and H Corp's healing, it's more that H Corp's healing boluses are more like a transformation type of thing, while the green monster liquid returns things to its original state. We also know that K Corp has a security team, Class 1 being the weakest, since they are mainly search and rescue. Class 2 is the protection of the nest, and Class 3 are considered the strongest fighting force, and they're kept in glass containers to increase the effectiveness of the K Corp ampules. K Corp also has a decay ampule that does the reverse effect, destroying a person's body. And also fun fact, K Corp also has a Department of Food and Research Development that oversees anything relating to food within the nest. It's often considered a resource drain, but they always somehow win Department of the Year. Technically, there's no ring at the moment, but I can still talk about the old L Corp and Lobotomy Corporation. Old L Corp, they were the previous supplier of energy before Lobotomy Corporation, but it was unpopular due to its high prices and smoke pollution. The only other thing we know about L Corp is that their singularity has some relation to the smoke production as well. And we already talked about its downfall. Lobotomy Corporation. Okay, there's a whole game about this, so I'm going to just explain what they do. Lobotomy Corporation became the new L Corp after the old one fell. Singularity, Teto. It could be used to extract ego from a living person to create abnormalities, and abnormalities create a equivalent, and a equivalent is the clean energy solution for the city. M Corp focuses around mental health. They have a facility which helps individuals deal with addiction. District 13 is also the origin of the restaurant Ham Ham Pang Pang, which has a real-life equivalent as well in South Korea. Singularity, Moonstone. It can strengthen a person's mind, basically making the bad thoughts go away, or have the person to be able to use it to focus on a task without distraction. There is a limit to how much they can block though. Many people in the city who see combat-like fixes or syndicates will often use these stones to help protect their minds from psychological attacks. If you have a prosthetic of any kind, do not go to N Corp under any circumstances. This district has two factions, Nagel und Hammer, and is managed by the board of directors. In this district, experience is seen as the highest value, but it's not like working in a job for a long time. Let me explain it to you like this. You know the meme where the guy from Arcane beams the Bee movie into a person's head? That is what a CAN experience is. These can range from combat experience to just living in a rich person's house. Most of the ring's economy is making CAN experience and selling it to the rest of the city. You're also not allowed to film anything within this district. By the way, DJ, why are you saying you shouldn't go here if you have a prosthetic? Well, that's because of the Inquisition. I'm just gonna throw this image here and explain it later. Singularity? Unknown, but we know it's used to make canned experiences. Other notable things about N Corp: the League of Nine. It's basically evil limbus company with evil limbus company sinners, where they want to collect the golden bowls and develop technology based on Yi Seng's mirror. There's the Inquisition, talking a little bit more about them. They are fanatic employees with extremist beliefs, often using canned experiences to reinforce their belief of purification. There's the Sophistic Klaus, which is also known as Lick Klaus. They work as an intelligence agency for the ring. There's the Docugraphers. They are the people responsible for collecting photos to turn into canned experience. And finally, the Taboo Hunters. If a person commits an N Corp taboo within their district, a taboo hunter will be sent out after that person. And hopefully I can get this video done before Mozart's Canto. O Corp. It has not been mentioned. Not at all. We don't know anything. P Corp is separated into 3 different departments. These are the archival, material, and compression department. Singularity, unknown. We don't know the name, but we do know P Corp's goal with their singularity is to create the safest place in the world. Using the singularity makes an item highly resistant to damage and keeps its structural integrity. It also makes the object very elastic as well. It should be noted that P Corp's singularity is similar to the manifestation of La Mancha Land, smaller on the outside compared to the inside. Faust theorizes that inside of a P Corp product, you're actually in a space that's disconnected from the outside world, like a pocket dimension. By the way, I also wanted to point out that this is the head manager of P Corp's archival department. I just really wanted to show Kisara off. Q Corp has close connections to H Corp due to the marriage of Jia Yangshu and a Q Corp higher-up. Singularity, glyphs. Normally, a glyph is engraved into a talisman, which is then placed on an object or is held onto by the user. A glyph can have multitude of effects, from enhancing a weapon to make it stronger, making a building out of ink, or making a group of soldiers obedient to their leash holder. Okay, for this one, I'm going to be skipping in the alphabet a bit since this one's connected with 2 other corporations, and it wouldn't make sense to talk about them individually, so I'm going to combine the singularities for this one, meaning I won't talk about the singularities as much for T Corp and W Corp in their respective sections. So, L Corp is a private military corporation in the city, and it has a special collaboration between T Corp and W Corp. T Corp's singularity is time-related, in the sense of being able to store it and use it. Think of it like this: if you have 24 hours in a day, what if your sense of time was distorted where you have 48 hours in a day? You would be able to move twice as fast, or things around you would move at half speed. The next singularity is W Corp's, which is the warp train. It takes you from one location to the next, but that's what they tell the public. The train enters an alternate reality. Time is still dilated or paused in a way. You don't age, you can't die, you don't even feel thirsty or hungry. If you were to get a cut, the cut wouldn't heal, the blood sticking together. But that also means if your arm was cut off, it wouldn't kill you, the blood wouldn't go everywhere, it would all stay connected. I imagine it would be like having water in space. So why does this all matter, and what is Corp Singularity? On the warp train is a special machine created by T-Corp that collects time during that trip and give it to Corp, so Corp can use it in its singularity, which is cloning. But here's the thing, there's a taboo in the city that doesn't allow a clone to exist for 7 days. So Corp uses the T-Corp Singularity to speed up the cloning and training process. The clones are made in the thousands in a hatchery and forced to fight each other, the strongest one being the only one that's left. When you take that person, clone them again, rinse and repeat whenever it's needed. And for those all confused about cloning, think of it like this. If there is a clone version of me for more than 7 days, then the city, that is a no-no. But if the clone within those 7 days kills me, technically there's no original me and that clone becomes the original. It's as simple as that. And in return for this collaboration, Corp protects W and T Corp. Corp's soldiers specifically are split into different packs, which are then split by animal, all having the letter R. There's the Raven, who specifically are not a part of any pack. They follow the orders of the Supreme Commander of like the entire thing. Ravens remove the internal threats within Corp and any units that are deemed no longer useful. There are the Rabbits, who are part of the 4th pack. They seem to be the standard soldier using guns and daggers in battle, and they don't discriminate between the targets and the civilians. The Reindeer are part of the 2nd and 4th packs. They are able to use their brainwaves and turn it into electricity. This is being used by their antlers for attacks. But because of this, reindeers also suffer from migraines and nervous breakdowns in long battles, leading them to basically attack everyone. Rhinos are part of the 4th pack. They are the frontline soldiers who act as the vanguard. They are physically strong and wear large suits. They can also suffer from fatigue from these large suits as well, prone to agitation, leading them to go on rampages. In this image as well, was shown that there are the rats and the rams, but we don't know anything about them. Finally, we don't really know anything about the 1st or 3rd packs. We don't really know if there's more than 4 or if there is only 4. By the way, if any of the information in this video is incorrect, don't blame Matt, blame that on me. I didn't tell him I updated some parts. S-Corp's main export is agriculture, providing goods to the other residents of the city. The ring is divided into 3 circles. There's the flesh, which is the rice and grain, the blood, which handles the tech in the ring, and the bone, which handles the meat and livestock. The leaders of S-Corp is the Royal Court, where the king is the head, who has retainers as well. There's officials of the rings known as Ordens, who are the military officers. And finally, there are the counselors, where each circle, left, center, and right, is represented by one. These are meant to balance each other out and cooperate. But they, mainly the right and the left, end up scheming trying to gain more power. All this scheming eventually led people from S-Corp to flee to other wings, and in recent years, S-Corp has not been doing good economically. This is worse since the higher-ups are corrupt. And in terms of their singularity, it's unknown what it is, but I had to assume it has to do with farming. In terms of other notable things, S-Corp also has something known as the brand of Nabai, which saps a person's strength. It also seems like they allowed the Komokumo clan, a syndicate, to be active within S-Corp. Soldiers from S-Corp also use a style known as Sword of the Homeland, each circle having a style of their own. The highest position of those who learn this style are known as the Apex Blade of the Homeland, and the Ungum, Bamboo had a Kim himself being even a candidate for this position. And S-Corp's elite military uses a suit of powered armor known as the... I'm not even gonna try to pronounce that. I already butchered so many things in here already. The suit is very strong, but it needs the user to bring out its full potential. Well, I touched upon it in our corpse as a snack, but it's time for the main course. If you live in T-Corp, you pay with time itself. You get paid in time. You get taxed in time. But they do have social welfare, where at bare minimum, a person will receive 4 hours. And if you're wondering that means, remember the 24-hour example where I talked about if you have 48 hours, things are moving as twice as slow to you? Well, in this case, things will be moving 6 times faster around you. You would be moving at a snail's pace. In addition, you don't have a wallet when you live in T-Corp. Instead, you have a timepiece. It also acts as your own ID as well. To obtain a timepiece when you don't live in T-Corp is a timely process, so visitors can pay advance depending on how long they plan to stay and what they do. And you'll notice by the images on the screen that there's not much color as well. That's because T Corp's technology's effect. If I had to give my best scientific reasoning, I don't know. The back streets are pretty much black and white, and if you want something in color, you have to pay a lot of time. In addition, there's also lamps that partly restore color to areas that they light up as well. And in recent years, you could also apply for an exam to be a certified inventor. This is to give motivation to the residents of T Corp, but more importantly for T Corp to make money off of it. The logic being, if you become a certified inventor, you get access to T Corp's resources. Of course, you don't get everything right away, there's levels to it, and in return, T Corp gets whatever you make. And if you do really well, you can go to the Inventors Expo to show off what you made to try to earn the title of Inventor of the Year. The title also comes with a large amount of prize money. Singularity? Unknown, but it gives them near full control of time. What's happening on the warp chain is that the passengers are having their time collected, which is why they can't die. It's like being in the state of pause. T Corp is also capable of reversing time and speeding it up. There's also machines that can be used to set everyone in the same vicinity at the same time as well. Part of this district is the Great Lake. It has 5 ports, known as the 5 Great Ports of U Corp, and its back streets are on massive moving ships that go across the lake. These ships are needed because the lake is dangerous. You'll notice how it's like a puzzle, and that's because it shows what area you're in, but you need to keep on moving. Don't stay in one location for too long or else, yeah, you can die instantly here. But anyways, let's talk about U Corp's 2 singularities. Singularity. Stasis, preservation, packaging. Allows for the contents of a package to remain unchanged in any way until the box is open. You got an anime figure you want to ship? Stasis prevention is the key. You don't even need packing peanuts or anything. Don't have to worry about anything falling apart in the box. Its second singularity, resonance tuning fork. It allows it to merge the essence of objects together or divide them. Not sure if this is stated or speculated, so correct me if I'm wrong. Whale oil is used for making resonance tuning forks. Whale oil coming from creatures that live within the Great Lake. V Corp is where the first half of Leviathan takes place. What's a Leviathan, you may ask? It's a book that follows our guy Virgilius. This corporation is led by the elders of V Corp. Yeah, that's all we have about this corporation as a whole. We also know that this is also where the incident took place where 80,000 Nest residents were killed by the distortion decrying children.
I saw some guy on the docks looking for something he lost.
W Corp is dangerous, like really dangerous. There's turf wars that happen between the syndicates. The back streets is known for its use of human flesh and food. Restaurants will collaborate with syndicates to kidnap people for their meat and flesh. So anyways, the warp train. What is it? Well, it's a train system that goes throughout the entire city, and it will take you to your destination in 10 seconds regardless of distance. But that's what they tell the public at least. W Corp has 2 singularities. Singularity, save point. It's like a video game where it keeps a save point of you in the current time before you leave. Singularity, dimensional gateway. Not the official name, but it's the name of what I'm gonna call it. It's used to send the warp train into another dimension. Once again, passengers on the train do not experience thirst, hunger, etc, etc. You're trapped in there for thousands of years. But it's also interesting to note, if you were hungover while on the train, you'll be hungover the entire time. But if you're rich, you get first class tickets, where you go into a sleeping pod chamber where you're frozen, and to them, it actually does feel like 10 seconds have just passed. When the train returns, the W cleanup crew board the train and begin the cleaning process. This is mainly taking out any hostile thoughts, and using the save point to load people back to how they were before the train warped. And if it gets really bad, like someone, I don't know, trained a mini personal army while on the train by the time the train returns, our corp is called in for assistance. W Corp's cleaning crew is divided into 5 levels. Level 2 agents are the field workers. Level 3 agents monitor and teach the new hires. On top of doing field work, Level 4 agents use specialized equipment known as the Congression Cleaning Armor, which enhances the user. A single Level 4 agent with this gear can clear a train meant for a group of Level 4 and Level 3 agents. And finally, the Level 5 agents are the strongest and have no issues of clearing up the warp train of any issues. In terms of level 1 and what they do, I don't think it was ever stated. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I always knew where I stood.
X Corp is known for its durable alloys and excavation sites because they somehow obtain the finished products instead of the natural material. But these excavation sites are known as hellholes because of the monsters that live within them. Fixers are hired to deal with them, but for excavation sites that are within the nest has, there are organizations with direct affiliation with the ring, such as the excavators.
Hands slowly.
Z and Y Corp. We don't actually know anything about them. Only thing we know about the Y Corp, it's located right here. And that's about it. And for Z Corp, you'll notice by this map that there is no Z Corp. Some people believe that Z Corp doesn't even exist. Others believe that Z Corp is underneath the entire city. And some people believe that Z Corp just floats above the city, like Skyblock. And that's all I got for you. I did my best to keep these sections simple. Of course, with Encanto 10 on the horizon, I'm sure certain sections within this video will become outdated. Also, I wanted to shout out these two creators who have made similar videos to this. Please check out their channels if you've never heard about them. And in other news, I have reached 1K. Woo! I'll do a Q&A sooner or later at one point, so I'll put my marshmallow link in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, click subscribe, and comment down if I got anything wrong. And furthermore, have a nice day. Bye bye. Hey, post-editing DJ here. I wanted to add on that this video was originally planned to be released next week or something like that, even though it was already finished. But then I saw this video released. I didn't want people to assume I was just copying them because this video shares a lot of the same information as this one. If you haven't already, please check them out too. And also, once again, check out these creators. I know they're much bigger than me, but I wanted to pay my respects by giving them a shout out.